Now on to another key theme in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that is the theme of friendship. And we're looking particularly here at Jekyll and Utterson's friendship and the good and bad that comes of it. So I've got 4 points I want to make. I've colour-coded it to match the mark scheme. So how does Stevenson present the theme of friendship? So Stevenson shows there's two sides of friendship. It can be a force for good and it can be a source of strength, but also it can blind us to our reality, and actually a friendship can ultimately destroy us, as it does in this novel. So what 4 points do I want to make in response to this question? First of all, Utterson, who is a representation of society, is loyal to his friends, just like we should be expected to be in society. So I've got the quote, his affection is like ivy with the growth of time. However, Lanyon's lack of friendship with Jekyll cost him a wider understanding and ultimately cost him his life. So this is about the value of friendship and the importance of friendship and what it can do for us, both intellectually and personally. And I've got the quote wrong in mind for that. Now, Utterson's blind loyalty stops him seeing reality and means he's unable to help his friend. And so therefore I'm going to start talking about how friendship can actually damage us and not help us. But then also I've got Utterson being so bound to his friend and to the rational limits of society that he never understands the truth. So actually a friendship and our loyalty can withhold us information, withhold us knowledge, and thereby damage ourselves and our friend too. So my first paragraph is going to be looking at this. His affections like ivy with the growth of time. So Utterson represents society and he values friendship and is committed to his friends just like the rest of society would do. Now he's got the quote growth of time here, which shows how he's careful with his friendships to ensure he's associated with who society deems as suitable people. Now he compares it to ivy. Now ivy keeps coming back no matter what you do, showing the strength of his loyalty to his friend. Now the simile here, ivy, grows in poor conditions, so society has created an unhealthy environment for these friendships. He's only friends with those of the same intellect and class, yet his friendship still grows, despite the fact they are a danger to him and to themselves. Now ivy covers things up, the same way as blind loyalty means he can't see the truth of Jekyll and Hyde. It's been covered up for him, and thereby it becomes a dangerous friendship. Then I'd look at the lack of friendship. So I've got this quote here, wrong in mind. So Lanyon lacks a friendship with Jekyll, and this reflects the intolerance of new scientific thinking in the Victorian era. Utterson would expect them to be friends as they have a common interest, but Lanyon's limited rational mindset forbids it. So this is about how society pressures can force us into friendships, like in paragraph 1, but also force us away from friendships, like here in paragraph 2. Now this is a dangerous thing, because Lanyon is denied a true understanding of humanity, and therefore is denied the whole point of science, which is to improve and help people. And this intolerance of his approach ultimately costs him his life. Now I'd look at the repetition of wrong here, wrong in terms of incorrect, but also wrong in mind, showing his mental instability. Now this is ironic, as it is actually Lanyon who is wrong all along, and it is his mental state that is warped by the truth. His rejection of this friendship does untold damage to him. Then I'd start looking at a little bit of symbolism. Now this is a quote from Jekyll and Hyde's laboratory, and he talks about a foggy cupola above them in the ceiling. So this reflects Utterson's blind loyalty, which stops him seeing reality and means he's unable to help his friend. Remember, Utterson here is talking to his friend Jekyll, who appears deadly sick, underneath a foggy cupola. So this reflects the pressure of society to always stick by our friends regardless of their actions. So Stevenson shows this is not always a helpful approach. Why? Because foggy symbolises their friendship. Utterson is unable to see clearly the truth because of his blind loyalty, but also fog on the windows is only created when there's great disparity in the atmosphere, i.e. if it's hot inside and it's cold outside. Now this reflects the fundamental differences between Utterson and Jekyll, yet they're still friends because society commands it so. Now a cupola lets in light, it's like a big window in the ceiling, and light symbolises hope and guidance, but Utterson's blind loyalty and inability to see reality means hope of escape is slipping away from Jekyll. It's quite a tricky quote to get your head around this if you want to start comparing a setting point to their friendship, but I think as you can see, if it's explained carefully and properly, it is a perfect metaphor for their friendship. Finally, I've got this quote, won't hold water, and this is what Utterson says when he cannot believe that Jekyll and Hyde are the same person at the end. Now he's so bound to his friend he never understands the truth. He's so tied to the expectations of society, being loyal to your friends and being a rational thinker, that he can never solve the mystery. But the tragedy is that he's never then actually able to help his friend. Now it's quite significant this scene happens by the door, so only now does Utterson actually open the door to Hyde and understand the reality of his addiction and pain. Only now does he put his friendship to one side and allow himself to actually understand the reasons for these things. Now the metaphor of water here connotes to cleanliness and purity, but the inability to have this water, because he can't be held, reflects how his friendship has tarnished and damaged them both. They cannot have that purity again. But there's also a destructive quality to this quote, for it won't hold water, which reflects how this blind friendship has destroyed